Before we move on, though, I
Yeah.
did forget we have one more DC related topic, so I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to knock this one out too. So recently here, Warner Brothers came out and they canceled 2 films that were kind of remnants of the old days in a lot of ways. So the New Gods film from Ava DuVernay has been canceled as in addition to the Aquaman spinoff about the trench. So like, let me see. Tom King and Ava DuVernay were actually developing the New Gods thing, and then James Wan and I forget who else was actually developing this trench thing. There was an interesting quote from them, from Warner. Don't know if it's in this article. I think this is it right here. Yes, this is it right here. So in a statement, Warner Brothers said it looked forward to a continued partnership that New Gods and the Trench will remain. Like if they were to, if for whatever reason in the future they were going to come back and they decide to do a Trench movie or a New Gods movie, they're going to get back in touch with Ava DuVernay and James Wan. You know what I mean? Like, so they're not like never going to work with them again. Like they're just tabling these 2 movies for now. And then another thing they said, and I don't see it in this article, but they said that they look forward to working with them like on other titles or something like that. They were kind of insinuating that they have an open door, maybe even might be discussing other projects like with Ava DuVernay and with, we know James Wan's doing Aquaman too, so. But the other quote that for whatever reason is not in this article, or at least I'm not seeing it, they want to say that, which was kind of interesting. So I was kind of looking forward to seeing New Gods personally. I don't know if it would have been like the right time for a New Gods movie, or if it would even really work. In all honesty, because like no one's really familiar with that stuff for the most part. It would have been an interesting thing to do. Like I honestly think like maybe they should wait to see how Eternals does, but it's not really going to be a 1-to-1 comparison because it's an MCU movie and the MCU kind of always does good, whether or not it's the best MCU movie or not. They freaking average $1 billion. So the New Gods is, even though they have similarities, it's really they're entirely different. So, but in the end, I was not surprised by this in the least because they're just like I said, I never really saw a New Gods movie actually working with the global audience, the general audience, unless it was just like a really good movie, which like Ava DuVernay could have made a really good movie. So I'm bummed it's not happening, but either way. But then this Trench movie, I don't care who you have working on it. It was always the weirdest choice. You're gonna make an entire movie about the trench. It's like a 5-minute scene, if that, from Aquaman. Or it's just about these, like, what was it gonna be? Like, it made no sense. It's like Warner Brothers makes like some weird ass decisions. They got all these characters they can make a movie about. And they decide, let's make a movie about there's a cool scene in Aquaman with them little trench monsters. Why don't we make that? Like, fuck, dude, make the Batgirl movie you were gonna make. Make the Nightwing movie you were gonna make. Like, I never not that the trench movie couldn't have been good. James Wan's great. But like, get your priorities right, man. That's what I always thought about this. Like, I'm gonna say, like, stupid trench movie. Like, who cares? Who cares about the trench movie? I thought it was always stupid, but that's just me. It could have been great though. I'm not saying it's bad. I love James Wan. He's great. So that was the last DC topic. You guys want to add anything to that? That's all I got.
You've covered.
I mean, Ava DuVernay she's still tied to the Naomi project for the CW, DC's Naomi, which is a relatively new character that was created by Brian Michael Bendis when he came over from Marvel. And he started writing the Superman line of comics. He also wrote a series called Young Justice, and he introduced a new character named Naomi into the DCU. And so she is going to be developing a series for the CW with that. So she's still involved with Warner Brothers. I was actually shocked. I shouldn't say shocked. I was surprised a little bit. By the way, this is the story I said that the news broke on April 1st, and I thought, is this just an April Fool's joke? Because I didn't understand why DC would announce this on April 1st. Like, you don't announce actual real news on April 1st because the inclination is, oh, this is just an April Fool's joke. Turns out it wasn't. But
Right.
the what was I going to say? Um, the script was written by Ava DuVernay and Tom King, and Tom King is also he's written a lot of stuff. He most recently, or maybe most famously in the comics world, wrote Batman with the Rebirth line that DC did a few years back. And his Batman run was pretty epic and garnered a lot of attention for him. It was excellent. I love the run. But he had also done a few smaller books, and one of the smaller books that he had done, within the past 5 to 10 years, was a book called Vision for Marvel, which strongly influenced the Wanda and Vision TV show, that the WandaVision show that was just such a huge hit for Disney. So I was pretty surprised to see that WB would shelve this New Gods movie, given the creators that were involved with it. I mean, he has a lot of what's the word I want?
Clout.
Prestige or clout, yeah, coming off of WandaVision because of how much his story influenced the way that show played out. And so he also, and that's the other thing that ties the reason that he has some I can't think of the word. Anyway, that's the reason that he should be involved in a New Gods movie, is because he, after Vision, he wrote a story called Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle is one of the DC New Gods. He's married to Big Barda, one of the other DC New Gods, and their story took place. Mr. Miracle book took place all within New Genesis and Apocalypse and Darkseid and High Father and the whole New Gods world. And so he just seemed like a natural fit to write a script, especially based on Ava's involvement with it. And so for DC to cancel it coming out of the success of WandaVision was surprising, and one of the reasons that I thought it was an April Fool's joke when I first saw it. So anyway, I was surprised to see that happen. And then also, as far as the James Wan Trench movie, at the time I heard that Warner Brothers was looking to diversify their genre. They didn't want to just do straight superhero movies because they're Warner Brothers and they have to have different genres and whatever. And that the reason that they greenlit The Trench was they felt it could be their kind of way into superheroes, but horror type superhero films. So I don't know how if they were gonna bring in other Aquaman characters and have them involved with the Trench storyline and expand the world out that way. But yeah, in the scheme of things, I would much rather see them focus on some of their core superheroes that we've never seen adapted to the big screen. So
Right.
We'll see.
That's the thing. Like, it's like you want to do that, but then like you had all these other things in development. Like, I mean, for God's sake, we've been waiting on Flash and Black Adam for how long now? Like, and then
Right.
they had, like I said earlier, like the Batgirl thing was in development, the Nightwing thing was in development, and until Titans, there wasn't any live action Nightwing anything. It's like everybody
Yeah.
wants to see that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want a
Well,
Trench movie before that stuff. Like, that's the
And
thing.
Trench was announced after Aquaman, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
both of these
after.
movies were announced within the past couple years. So both of these movies were announced under Walter Hamada's tenure, correct?
I don't know. It was always a the thing is with these announcements and these projects is like normally they're in development. Like if let's say in June the Trench was announced, okay, just to the public. That means they've been talking about it for months. Like they were getting the ball rolling on this as early as January. If the public finds out about it in June, so like who really knows? Like they could have been on set doing the Aquaman movie, and then the Trench stuff happened, and like someone liked the Trench thing, and they decided to do that. James Wan could have freaking pitched it when he pitched Aquaman to him, for all we know. But it's always a tricky thing to like just go by like when the public announcements is made, because it's not like when Ben Affleck was cast as Batman, for instance. it's not like he accepted the call the day before or accepted the role the day before we found out about it.
Yeah.
Like he it's been on record to show that like he knew he was gonna be Batman. I think it was like 3 to 4 months before the announcement was ever made. He was Batman. You know what I mean? So it's like it's always kind of finicky to say. I'm more disappointed, obviously, in the new Gods thing because I love the new Gods and stuff. I would have loved to have seen it explored more. I don't know if like the Snyder cut and the direction they were going with, like what Snyder did with like Darkseid and all that, if that had any effect on it. They could have completely focused on New Genesis, so it may not have had anything to do with Darkseid and all that. So who really knows? But this Ava DuVernay is like very talented and it had Tom King attached to it as well, so like that was exciting. And if you're not familiar with like Ava DuVernay's work, there's two things that like at least in my opinion that I know she's like really well known for, and that's Selma and the mini series on Netflix called When They See Us, which was really good. So that's what you if you haven't seen anything, go check those two out because those are like really good movies. So he most recently did like that Wrinkle in Time movie by Disney. Don't watch that movie.
No.
Don't watch that movie. That movie ended up being terrible. So unfortunately, I don't know what happened with that. Everybody has a bad day at the office, though. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for the big DC. That was a 40-minute intro in DC news coverage there for today. So guys, let us know what you think about that. What did we go over there? We had the Joe Manganiello stuff. We had the 36% of viewers with the Snyder cut in general. And then we had the cancellation of New Gods and the Trench movie, the James Wan Trench movie. So let us know what you thought about that. Which story of those stand out to you? And were you excited for a Trench movie? Or like, let me know if I'm crazy and I just thought that would be. Here's the thing. Like I said, it could have been an amazing movie. It could have been awesome. The Trench scene was cool in Aquaman. I just don't think it's really something that you should be focusing on right now. Like, you got so much stuff that you could do otherwise. Like, let's get Aquaman 2 before the Trench even. Like, who the hell knows? But let us know what you think about all that down in the comment section below.